right, everyone, we're here with head coach Seb Hines. Seb, just initial thoughts on tonight's result.
Frustrating. Obviously, don't like losing, don't like conceding 4 goals, especially at home. So, really disappointed with the result. There was some good moments, but it wasn't enough tonight.
Awesome.
Seb, going into this game from last game, you kind of talked about the start to halves, conceding 2 goals in the first 6 minutes. What did you kind of see happened within that start to the game?
It can happen so quickly, right? So you go in promising positions where I thought we started that first probably 1 or 2 minutes, and then you get punished for not ending it, not finishing your press, or one ball switched off at the back, and it allows a team like Washington, who are really dangerous in transition, with acres of space to run into. So yeah, I'm not happy with the last 2 games, the amount of goals that we've conceded. We got to stop the bleed now, and that can't happen.
Yeah, just wondering the plan in the second half. Once it was, they were starting to press a little harder, and the thoughts going into the substitutions you made with Marta on the bench and all the other options that you had.
Yeah, I mean, Marty wasn't fit. We knew that going into it, just so everyone's aware. But I think she brings leadership. She brings, that aura around the group and gives them confidence. So we thought it was beneficial to have her in and around the team. So she wasn't an option to come off the bench. After we got back into it, going into halftime 2-2, we felt like we had a lot of good momentum ending the half. We had to make sure that again we have to be switched on at the back, not allow any opportunities for the opponent, and yeah, you're probably most vulnerable when you feel like you're in a position that you're going to score, and that's kind of what happened. I think just looking back at the last goal, we go from a position where we kind of nick it, and then long ball, don't challenge, it bounces, and then we step when we should drop, and then they get in behind again. So yeah, a lot to analyse, a lot to review, and yeah, we've got to move on and learn from these moments.
Seb, you've talked about the response to those moments. You get 2 from Barb heading into the half. Just kind of talk about her importance to this team and just the way she's been able to find goals lately.
Yeah, massive. Different types of goals every game. We're so happy she's here, contributing to the team. So, yeah, going 2-0 down, especially, I think it was 7 minutes into the game, heads can drop, you can feel sorry for yourselves, but this team, it doesn't react like that. They always feel like we're in it with a chance even towards the end, and it's 4-2. We have to be a little bit more aggressive and push more numbers forward. I think we had a couple of half chances. I think Haley had a chance from a corner kick, and again, if that goes in, they're on the back foot again. So biggest thing for me, goals change games. We have to make sure then we have good momentum and good build-up moments, that we're punishing teams and finishing in the back of the net. But also we got to be so switched on, because they can find players like Santos, and you got Rodman running, Cantori running, Martinez. So yeah, again, I'll say you're most vulnerable when you have good attacks, and if we're not switched on, we'll get punished.
I guess kind of going off of that, just defensively, do you feel like there was kind of a disconnect between the back line in terms of those balls over the top, those quick counters that Washington were hitting you with?
Yeah, I mean, the key to that is communication, right? Making sure that you've got each other's back, 1 steps, 1 drops. Where's the most dangerous space? In Washington, we're obviously hitting it into the most dangerous space. So in that moment, you've got to be able to read the cues and read the moments to drop, and we didn't do that tonight.
So based on the profiles of the teams, how are you feeling about the next game, and what kind of game plan do you have for that specific match?
Yeah, next game's against North Carolina back at home. I think, Washington are a good team. They have some really great players, all international players. And we have a great team, and we got to make sure that we don't give North Carolina, when they come to our place on Friday, any of these opportunities again. We got to make sure that we're a little bit more organised, recognise the cues, not always high pressing, being mid block. Still want to counter press when we lose it, which a lot of our success and some of the goals came from those moments where we counter press, but it's got to be the right players in those moments. And yeah, we got to defend the most dangerous space, which is the space between the goalkeeper and back line, and that's going to be the key points that we'll be looking for. Listen, we still got a lot of games to go. We still got some key players out missing as well, so we want to get results. We need to get results. We need to bounce back from 2 defeats in the last 2 games, but next game's around the corner, and we're looking to make a difference in that.
That's one for Austin.
Seb, you've always talked about Barb and her importance with this team, but how important is it to get other players going? We saw moments of Soleil getting into dangerous spots on the wing. Haley's always kind of found those spaces in the box, but how important is it just to have the rest of your attacking players to play a part in
contribute?
Right.
Yeah. It can't always be Barbara. We turn into a one-player team. So, yeah, we need to. They do contribute in so many different ways. I think some of the pressing was great. I think the creativity from Summer Yates was brilliant as well. Like you said, Soleil on that left or right hand side, taking players on and getting dangerous positions. And yeah, that first goal again, it comes from a position where you think you're going to score. We hit the post. I think we hit the bar as well. And these are the fine margins that are kind of letting us down. And so yeah, like I said, we don't want to concede 4 goals. Never like that. Hate conceding. It hurts a lot. But there's a few positives that we can take away going into the next game.
Thanks, Seb.
Thank you.